The following presentation is brought to you by the Realm Network. This is Vince Russo's The Brand.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Lions, Tigers, Bears, and Disco Oy Vey. You got that, Disco Oy Vey? That Oy Vey's for you. Tell everybody out there what Oy Vey means, Disco. Go ahead.
I don't know.
Let me tell you what it means.
Stupid. What does it mean?
It means, what the hell is Disco doing on the show again? That's
well, first of all, you're not going to call the show's called Lions, Tigers, Bears, and Eggs, or whatever the hell it is. It's not. First of all, using my name without my consent, okay, is against the law. So don't just what is the name of the show? I know you get the bucket full of chicken eggs.
Lions, Tigers, Bears, and Disco. And listen, I think there is congratulations is due your way this week.
For what?
And I want to wish you congratulations, bro.
For what?
Well, supposedly there was a picture taken over the weekend of you and one Sanjay Dutt, and after that picture was taken, for what I understand, his career went spiraling downwards. So you've killed another career. Congratulations, bro.
That's not. This first one's not true. Okay, you're making outrageous claims, just slandering my name again. Show no appreciation for me coming on this show. The response from me on the show has been nothing but 99. I mean, Jeff will even admit. Jeff, on the social media response when I'm on the show has basically been what?
99% positive feedback, I'd say.
Okay, thank you. But the way Vince is treating me, you would think that maybe that I was ruining the show, correct?
Yes, you could get that impression.
Well, absolutely. So he's being a jerk.
Glenn, tell the people out there, I know you had a big show this weekend. Tell us a little bit about that show, because I know you hobnobbed with a lot of your buddies that you hadn't seen for a long time. Fill us a little bit in on the show, the weekend, who you saw, maybe give us some hot news, some scoops. Tell us a little bit about this past weekend.
There was a show in wrestling convention in Monroe, New Jersey, called The Legends of the Ring. Saw a lot of people there. I was in the same booth with Stan Hansen and Rhino. I saw the lovely Jasmine St. Clair was there. I saw the Blue Meanie, Jeff Jarrett, Karen Jarrett, Sanjay Dutt. I think Waylon Mercy was there.
Did you see your boy? And I mean,
I'm sure. Listen, you asked me to tell me who I saw. Let me finish.
Did you see your boy Jay Lethal there?
No, Jay Lethal was not there.
Ah, surprise. Okay. Go ahead.
I saw Booker T and Stevie Ray were there. I haven't seen them in years.
Nice.
Okay, they were there. Had a good time with them. Scott Steiner was there. Your boy Dirty Dutch Mantell was there.
Nice.
Zim Coulter. Who else is there? X-Pac was there. It was a good convention.
I thought
Bret Hart, Sting. Sting and Brett were there, the Hardy Boys.
Now, how many people would you say, out of all those people you just named, how many people would you say totally ignored you? Like, what, 80%?
0%. I mean, most of them came up and asked me to get autographs for them. They wanted me to sign autographs for their kids and stuff.
Hey, bro, I thought you told me that Scott and Kevin were going to be there. Were they not there?
No, they're not at that. They were at the show.
Oh, they were at the show? How'd the show go? Tell us about the show. Who'd you work? What happened at the show?
I worked a young man called Pinky Sanchez. They had this. It was a good show, okay, and because Raven did not show up. So Kevin Sullivan was there too. Since Cactus Jack was also there.
Raven no-showed?
Raven screwed up his travel. Okay, he was supposed to make his own. Well, he booked his own travel and he screwed up his own travel. Okay, and he was supposed to do commentary on the show, so I had to do the commentary for him.
So you killed the show. You killed the show.
So there was actually a pretty funny spot in there. They had this. I don't know if you've heard about this thing. It's called Kaiju Battle. Have you heard about this, Jeff?
No.
Where the wrestlers dress up as a kaiju battle as wrestling. They dress up as dinosaurs, like Godzilla, like Japanese monsters. Okay, and there was a show earlier in the day, and they put like fake buildings in the ring, and they like have a wrestling match in the ring dressed like monsters and stuff, everything. So that was like a show earlier in the day. Okay, but they had one of those matches on the show that night. It was on the show had a Necro Butcher's farewell show, but it was funny because they had a kaiju battle match in the middle of the show. Okay, like so it's so out of place, because it's kind of like wrestling for little kids, So it's pretty funny. They did a thing, and they just said in the middle of the match, because the fans were like starting to make fun of it, that they just hit New Jack's music and sent New Jack out there to beat the guys up. So New Jack just went in the ring, and they didn't know he was going to do it, too. It's kind of like old school TNA Asylum days,
Yeah.
We just called spots like on the thing. So New Jack went out there and beat the guys. It was pretty funny. There was let me tell you something. They had let me try. Zach Gowen was there and wrestled with this other kid called something Robinson. I forget what the guy's name was, but the guy's handicapped. He's got like handicapped arms, like Wounded Warriors type tag team. And they're very entertaining.
Oh well, yeah, that sounds interesting.
They had also they had the 6-way cruiserweight match. And let me try to remember these guys' names. I forget their names, but one of the guys' name was Unbreakable. They had this kid David Starr. I think you've heard of, maybe you might have heard of. He was really good. It was 6. So these things are usually train wrecks. These 6-way cruiserweight matches. Like high flight. It's a 20-minute match. But I was very impressed. These are all indie guys. But the match was very stiff, very entertaining, and adhered to logic as close as you can get one of these 6-man car crash,
right.
X Division style matches can be. Bro, I was very impressed that these guys they sold a lot.
That's good.
And I was like, wow, I wanted, because I'm doing commentary, and as I'm doing commentary on the show, I'm doing 50-50 commentary. I'm calling it like I see it. If it's like bad work, I'm pointing it out as the show is going on. So everything but goes. And I wanted to and I told everybody beforehand, I'm probably going to find a lot of holes in this match. Bro, I was very impressed.
Well,
I was
maybe they were
surprised. It was just like, it was one of those matches that if you would have watched a typical indie guys, or watched guys that didn't know what they're doing, it would have been a 12-minute match. But this was 20 minutes. And they fit the 12, instead of adding more stuff because they had more time, they sold more because so many of the spots looked like so devastating.
Yeah.
There'd be it reminded me of old school Asylum days.
Yeah.
Where the guys would sell the stuff instead
Bro,
of
hey, Glenn, I still say it, and I think you were there. Bro, I still say the very best X Division match, cruiserweight match, whatever you want to call it, car crash, whatever you want to call it, match I ever saw was the very first episode of TNA. It was a 6-on-6. First time I ever saw AJ Styles work. I know AJ was in the match. Jerry Lynn was in the match. I think Psychosis was in. Bro, I've never seen a better match than that, and that was, 14 years ago?
Yeah, 13 years ago. Bro, you got to understand, we had, at the time, we didn't know it. Okay, because these guys were young and really were trying to make their name in the business. We had the A-list of cruiserweights.
Yeah, we did.
AJ, Daniels, Sabin, Kazarian, Elix Skipper, Low Key, Amazing Red, Psychosis, Hoovy. It was just an incredible Jerry Lynn. It's just a really good collection of X Division guys that before X Division kind of lost its way so much, where it's got two spot fest, or it got two. It was just really good stuff back then.
Hey, Glenn, did you get to talk to Sting at all?
No, because he had a long line.
I was just wondering how his health is.
I said he looks great. I said hi, but he was busy, doing this.
You said, Glenn, let's be honest. You said hi, and he turned the other way. What is the news of the week, Mr. Lane?
Raw rating fastly approaching the Mendoza line this week, a 2.03, down from a 2.28. The viewership actually dropped under 3 million to a 2.97 million. The hourly breakdown was 3.0, 3.1, and 2.8 for the last hour.
Well, I mean, you saw the show. Nothing happened. What was there to you have a? What was on?
Glenn, you know what I want you to tell me? Glenn, I want you to educate the audience. I'm being serious now, bro, because, Glenn, listen, listen, let me come clean here, bro. I kid with you a lot. I poke fun at you a lot. I mean, I was serious about everybody ignoring you with the show over the weekend. Disrespect. I mean, I think a lot of people ignored you this weekend. Like, that was a shoot. But, Glenn, I tell people this all the time. This is why I love Glenn Gilberti. You just have a way of saying things very simply that really make a lot of sense. You've been that way since I've known you. Glenn, of course, these ratings come in. So, of course, you're going to hear, oh, the NBA playoffs were on, totally ignoring the fact that during the Attitude Era and Nitro, your heyday, when we were doing 10 million people, NBA playoffs was on back then too. Monday Night Football was on back then too. But, so everybody looks for excuses. So, the NBA playoffs were on. Glenn, can you explain to people why, if a game of a major magnitude is on another channel, the wrestling ratings can go up compared to going down? Explain that to people, Glenn, because I don't think people understand that.
The funny thing is, like, people have tried to analyze ratings, and I don't know if you can find me anybody in the professional wrestling industry in the past 20-something years that used to do what I do in those booking meetings, and used to see what I would do, okay? I would get the ratings for Nitro, the minute-by-minute ratings, for every minute, okay?
Yep.
And what was on. I would get the ratings for Raw, minute by minute, and everything was on. I would also get the ratings for Monday Night Football while it was on, okay? And, bro, it's just so simplistic. When there is a large audience of people tuning in to television, and the 18 to 34-year-old demographic, okay, that is watching TV, if they become bored with something, they're probably going to change the channel, okay? So, and this is just so common sense, right? If there is a major sporting event on, and more people than usual are tuned into sports entertainment, basically, which is what sports is, are tuned into television to watch sports entertainment that night. If the sports entertainment is not entertaining, they will try to look for other forms of sports entertainment on TV, probably. Okay? So this is the most simplistic formula ever. When there was a football game on, okay, if the game was really good, the ratings on our show would be lower, because there was an entertaining product for the 18 to 34-year-old male demographic on the other channel. If the football game was bad, was a blowout, and was boring, the people would change the channel and tune in and watch wrestling. And it's so simple. I mean, I don't even know why I have to explain that, okay? But that's what happens. All right, it says that you could take an eighth grader and give them the data, and they'll show you that's what's happening.
Well, okay? Glenn, what about this, bro? He is another thing that's a part of that argument, bro. What about the fact come halftime of the football game or the NBA, bro, they ain't sitting there watching the halftime show. That's when they're flipping over to wrestling. Bro, right. That's when you have the opportunity to hook them. You have the opportunity to hook them.
You have the opportunity to hook them during commercials. Okay, right. The fact that you're giving up on the show,
right, and
not doing anything, as opposed to loading the show and trying to make it more interesting to watch your show, bro. Like, I've been watching a lot of the I just went to the WWE Network, started watching, like, you're doing the Raw review shows, right? So I'm watching, like, a lot of them, and I'm going through like September, October, and stuff and everything, all that, and I'm just watching the shows. Okay, there's just so much entertainment going on those shows, like, just visually. There's just a lot of action. There's just something like, if you miss something on Raw, okay, it's like he's like, guy, I got to get back there because maybe something's happening again. That's right. Back in the day. It's like when I watch Raw, okay, and I watch it on DVR, there's nothing really visual. The only visual presentation that they had was when Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns were in the ring, and I'm watching this segment. Okay, I'm like, all right, they get a chance to hook people, bro. I don't know whether they thought they were whether that was scripted, what they did, or whether that was just them saying, "Hey, let's do this." Bro, that was so boring. I was like, I'm watching it on DVR and I'm fast forwarding it, but I wanted to watch the whole thing to watch the show, to critique it for the show. And I'm like, bro, they have an opportunity here, and they're not really doing anything entertaining, saying anything entertaining. I'm like, what are they doing? You know?
On top of this, listen, I want to ask you this question seriously, bro. Seriously, bro. I've been watching wrestling probably somewhere between 10 and 12 years old. Mm-hmm. And Glenn, you've been watching it a long time as well. Glenn, can you remember, like literally one time, Glenn, one single time since you've been watching wrestling, that the two guys who were going to be in the main event in the pay-per-view 6 days later were both laid out by a third party that wasn't even in the match? Bro, I don't think that's ever happened before.
Bro, I didn't even get to that. That to me is like that's irrelevant, because that's like, you know, that's just like they're spinning the angles that they're trying to do. What I'm talking about is, like, on that show, when I watched the old Raws, and, like, bro, you read the recaps of the old Raws. Like, read that. The funny thing, Jeff, remember we recapped that Reddit interview, that promo? The guy watched Raw from May 10th, 1989. You know what the first caption says in the show? SWAT team surrounding the building and stuff. Okay, like, it's all right. Something's going on here tonight. Okay, there's a SWAT team right here. You know, there's gonna be some violence and everything. There's stuff going on, bro. You watch the Attitude Era. It's like Stone Cold's on a rampage. You know, people are trying to protect themselves. The Brothers of Destruction are on a rampage. Kane and Undertaker. We have cops in the building. We have violence. We have, like, the owner's out there. And he has to be protected by people and something. Bro, it's like, the show these days goes through the motions until we get to a match. And it's like, when we get to a match, it's like everybody's all happy because now the wrestlers are wrestling and they're doing the moves and they're hopefully they get "This is awesome" chants, everything. But in the realm of, like, putting on an entertaining show, nothing is going on. You know, they're like it was Raw back then. It was Raw is War. You know, the show opens, explosion. Like, you know what you get? Like, now the show opens, they have, like, they have that little music that goes dun dun dun. You know, then, now, and forever. It literally sounds like Days of Our Lives, like a soap opera, like an afternoon soap opera's coming on.
Hey, Glenn, let me ask you a question.
Like, get back, relax. You know,
hey, Glenn,
watch Raw. Like, you know.
Glenn, over at WCW. Now, be honest with me. Over at WCW.
I didn't wear a tank top today. Do you want me to roll my sleeve up?
Yeah, go ahead. Listen, Glenn, over at WCW, did the boys in the locker room ever have to call in a SWAT team to have you removed from the building because they couldn't stand the sight of you? Did that ever happen, bro? No. Okay.
But remember what we did though? When we were booking that angle with, like, Goldberg and Sid. It's like, bro, you got two monsters. It's like there needs to be, like, extra security out here. There's a violent situation. Glenn, listen, we're trying to like promote violence.
But Glenn, you went over right what I said. And you didn't watch it. You got to pay attention to what I said. Bro,
nobody's going to. A SWAT team is not going to come.
No, bro. Going back to Raw, bro. The two guys in the main event for the WWE title in 6 days were both left laying in the ring by a guy that wasn't even in the match.
Who laid him out?
It's Ambrose.
Oh, Ambrose. Are they the main event?
Yes, and Ambrose laid them both out.
Wait a second, because I'm missing something, because I didn't really watch. I DVR'd. I thought Cena and AJ is supposed to be a WrestleMania thing, so I was like, that's not the main event. Cena and AJ's not the main event?
Yeah, it is. It's the WrestleMania moment. All right, Jeff, go on. We covered the ratings. What's next?
This is an interesting quote that I know you would love, Vince. Stephanie McMahon was doing an interview. It was a Facebook Q&A. And they were asking her about someone asked her about getting back in the ring or something, wrestling again. And she said she enjoyed her programs with Trish and Brie, Lita, and Jackie. Having the privilege to get in the ring without being a wrestler is an honor to her. She says the decision to get back in the ring isn't up to her. It's up to the decision maker. She says that as long as it helps get somebody over, that's the ultimate goal of her character.
Well, who has she gotten over?
Well, you know, I mean, bro, Vince, let me be honest, okay? And I know that you're on you even have to admit, okay? let's be perfectly honest, okay? You are sour on Stephanie McMahon.
Okay, let me explain why.
Time out.
Okay, yes, but can I explain why? I'm agreeing with that, but you gotta let me explain.
You're sour. No, let me tell the story here.
Go ahead.
I think you're sour on her because, I don't care what people say, but basically, bro, the past like 13 years, the way that wrestling's gone down and what we've seen happen to professional wrestling, you could try to argue that you not being in the creative process in the WWE during that time, you could say you wouldn't have made a difference, but there's no way that you would have lost 40% of your viewers over maybe even more than that. Half the viewers now, 50%, 4.0 to 2.0. Okay, there's no way you would have lost half the audience because there's nothing in your resume that has ever shown that when you've worked as in the creative process that you have lost more than 10% of the audience over the course of a year at one point. I mean, like even from your TNA time, the only thing that people can criticize you for is when you went from a 2.2 or 2. What was the second stint at WCW? What did we lose? It went from like a 2.4 to a 2.2 over the course of 9 months. So which isn't like in the big picture is not really that significant. It's a less than 10% loss of viewership. Okay.
Yeah.
Your TNA time, you started back in TNA in 2005. You went from like a 0.7 to like a 1.1, so that or 1.112 over the course of years. I think maybe 1 year went from a 1.2 down to a 1.1. Maybe you lost a little bit, but basically from the time you started to the time you finished there, you took the previous, you bumped the viewership like 30%. Okay, and I know that the reason that thing went downhill when you went back to Vince in 2002 is because Stephanie basically put the kibosh on it. Okay. And I think that you've basically, seen what her character as a person and as a TV character have been like since then. I think you're very critical of her, but with reason, because nobody can honestly say that what she's been doing on TV has helped anybody but herself so far. Okay? And I think that that's what it stems from. But honestly, I kind of feel you too. I feel like the same way when I think 13 years ago. What could have been and where wrestling is now and what we're doing, it's a bitter pill to swallow.
Well,
if you
Glenn,
think about it,
but let me say this. Let me add a couple of other things to that to clarify. And I'm not going to argue with that, but I'm going to add a couple of other things. And this is very important. Jeff, when you said the decision maker decides she's on TV, she is telling the truth, Jeff, because I'll tell you why. When I almost went back in 2002, every other word out of Vince McMahon's mouth was to get Stephanie back on the show and in a power-up position. Every other word. So, bro, you know how, when somebody really wants something and even if you disagree with it, they want it so badly there's nothing you could say? He wanted her back on the show so badly there was nothing I could say. Now, let me address Glenn's point because I want Glenn to know this. And, Jeff, you may remember this. Jeff, when I started Pyro and Ballyhoo again, and I was writing for Pyro and Ballyhoo a couple of years ago, and you can go back and check the archives. Bro, I put Stephanie over huge as a character. I wrote an entire article about what a great character Stephanie was. Stephanie has legitimate heat. I put her over huge. But here's what happened, Glenn, and this is a shoot, and yes, there is some personal, like what you said, I agree with that. But here's what happened, bro. Over the next 2 years, I've seen that same character presented the same exact way every single week. There's no growth. There's no dimensions. There's no level to her character. It's the same character for 2 years. And forget the personal. Looking at the show from a professional level, Glenn, this is a shoot. I got sick of the character. I got sick of looking at her. I got sick of hearing her. I got sick about hearing, my ring and my husband. I just totally got sick of seeing that character. That's an absolute shoot.
How close is that character to her in real life?
Well, from what I understand in talking to other writers who worked under her, that's who she is, bro. She belittles them. She insults them. They talk down to her. And Glenn, I saw a piece of that when I almost went back there, and I've said this many times. She wasn't there. I had to take a call with her. And while she was on the call with me, and bro, keep in mind, I'm 15, 20 years Stephanie's senior. She talked down to me like I was her a redheaded stepchild. And I took offense to that, and I never forgot that. Yeah. So she definitely has an ego. I mean, there's no question about that. So it's a combination of all those things. But quite frankly, Glenn, I'm sick of the character because it's been one-dimensional for 2 years.
Well, I mean, honestly, it's comical how she every week she continues to just bury like everybody.
Right.
Like heels, baby faces,
right.
Like anybody that gets any steam, it's like it's like a legit glass ceiling. It's like, you're getting over a little bit. Let me belittle you and make fun of you and just let everybody know. Which I'm still I'm still thinking. I'm hoping that maybe they have something set up for that one person to tell her on TV to go F herself. You know, once you get it, probably huge pop and make a new star. But it just hadn't happened yet, you know?
Yeah. All right. What's next, Jeff?
Billy Corgan is now a new minority owner in TNA. This was announced the day of Slammiversary, I believe, or some close to that. And on the same weekend, the dots may connect here, and I don't know if he was the savior or not. But Dean Broadhead, who is the chief financial officer of TNA, went on his own Facebook page and just kind of threw everything out there for everybody to read.
Bro, he just kind of lost his mind, Jeff. Just say it, man.
Yeah, because he put out there how he had to secure interim financing with 12 hours to go before the pay-per-view to get the TNA production trucks to roll. Those are his words, or Slammiversary may not have happened. He made 80 phone calls. He was calling attorneys, bankers, vendors. The pay-per-view almost didn't happen. So I'm wondering if Billy was the savior here. Only, nobody's confirmed or denied that, so I don't know. But the timeline lines up. So at the same time, we almost don't have a pay-per-view. Now Billy Corgan becomes a minority owner. Interesting weekend for TNA.
The funny scene the day after the pay-per-view, after all that, this was funny. After all that, they had money problems and everything, the next day, Bobby Lashley re-signs with TNA. Re-signs? What is he going to be? How are they going to pay him? Honestly, bro. Let me tell you something. I watched some of the stuff on their show. I like that show is light years better than Raw.
Right.
They try so much. They try to entertain.
Right.
They're doing so many entertaining things. They're trying different stuff. It's like they're not. They're bottomed out. They're running out of money, and they are trying to save themselves. The WWE has bottomed out rating-wise, but it's like they're going. It's like there's a hole in the bottom of the ship, and then nobody's plugging it, or they're putting the same show on every single week. I think it's ironic to me. I would think that you would think that the way wrestling is today, that you would start showing some brass balls and trying different things because it can't get worse. Okay, TNA is doing that. Okay, I liked bro, the video that Jeremy shot with the Brother Nero stuff, the Matt Hardy thing at the house. Okay, that's something that was obviously, because based on what happened, putting yourself open to a lot of criticism by shooting that based on the type of fans you have today in wrestling. Internet trolls and everything would probably rip that apart. And I thought, a little sidebar, I thought it was hysterical how these little vignettes have come up on the internet about how with the piano music, what music Matt Hardy's playing on the thing. Did you see these?
No, I did not. No.
Bro, there's they'll have dun, 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 dun. They'll play they'll have a video with Charlie Brown music is playing. The Phantom of the Opera music is playing. It's funny. They're having fans on the internet having fun with it, but it's like the funniest thing about it was, and this was I think the best reaction to that. Okay, this is what impressed me. Is you had guys like Brian Alvarez and stuff and everything, their reaction was this: I don't know what to think of this. That's perfect, because we're getting you outside the box of your comfort zone, okay, of just thinking about wrestling as matches, rating the matches, stuff and everything, and we're hitting you with something like this, and they're saying like, people were saying, I don't know what to think of this. I said, well, you were obviously entertained by this. This is what professional wrestling is supposed to be doing. You have a block of TV, okay, that you're supposed to entertain and engage your audience with, not just fill it with wrestling matches.
Right.
Okay, so I'm very impressed, and probably based on your conversation, the first part of the interview you had with Corgan, I know this has got to be a lot of this guy's influence, because this stuff is coming out of nowhere, and I know that guy's a pretty brilliant guy.
Yeah.
You've worked with him, so would you would you think this is probably coming like a lot of this stuff is the influence from Billy Corgan?
Yeah, I do, but I also know, based on what he said in my conversation and just private conversations I have with him, they're not letting him go full bore, bro. They're still trying to be safe. And the one thing Vince McMahon always taught me, bro, and I've said it a million times, you can't be half pregnant. You're either all in or you're not. But when we get back, though, I'm going to tell you guys, give you a little insight too, Glenn. Where I'm a little concerned about the minority owner thing. I don't like the word minority, and here's why. Glenn, bro, Dixie started and Panda started as a minority owner when Jeff was still the majority owner. What happened, Glenn, is when TNA started bleeding money, either Jeff didn't have his own money to sink into it, or Jeff didn't want to sink his own money into it. So the more money that Panda put into it, the more of Jeff shares that they took. That was the exchange. We'll put our money in, Jeff, but the more money we put in, we're taking your shares. After doing that for a while, now Dixie and Panda became the majority owner, and Jeff was the minority owner. And I could tell you this, bro. When Jeff became the minority owner of TNA Wrestling, he had zero say-so. Zero. They didn't listen to him. He just he tapped out at that point, because that's when he lost power. So that's really my concern with Billy as a minority owner. What exactly is he going to get to do? Is he going to get to see his vision through the way that he wants to, or is it going to be a half-pregnant type of thing? That's the only thing that concerns me.
We'll see. But to me, the only thing I'm could care about is the quality of the show. Is it entertaining? That's the most important thing, is to get more people to watch the show week after week than you're getting that watch the previous week and get entertaining people, which is difficult to find these days in professional wrestling. The sport, bro, like I'm telling you, it's like for some reason we've spun sports entertainment as this bad term. Sports entertainment, but we need sports entertainment. You need more entertaining stuff. You need more videos like the Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy vignette. You need to get things that people talk about. Because, like you said, that like on Raw at the end of that, there was nothing entertaining. There was a match with guys on commentary that nobody. The funniest thing about this is one thing, like when you watch the old Raws and stuff and everything and all that, is. Yeah, every character, and then what really made the Attitude entertaining is how strong of a character, a mid-card character, Val Venus was. He was, bro, that set, like Val Venus's segments, even though he's like the mid-card guy, it's as good as anything on the show. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, whenever characters back in the day, when we were on TV, we spoke with strength and conviction in our voices. Okay, bro, nobody on that show. Like, you're on commentary, they had the in-ring with Seth Rollins. Bro, nobody raises their voice. Yeah. It's like nobody's angry. Nobody knows Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out there with, he's pissed off. Stuff like The Undertaker is pissed off. Vince McMahon is pissed off. There's strength in the voice. Bro, everybody, on their show, because they're scripting the stuff, everything, and they're not confident delivering the lines, they're not even delivering them with any inflection. It's like nobody raises their voice.
And then and then what that goes hand in hand with too, Glenn, is the fight doesn't look real. Glenn, when you look back, think of how amazing this is. I met with a couple of local promoters today, and we had this discussion. Glenn, think about how amazing. How amazing this is. Glenn, back in the day when you and I were watching the show, bro, let's look at some of the. Look how campy some of the characters were. Bro, you had a guy go into the ring carrying a snake. Okay? Bro, you had the British Bulldogs going to the ring with Matilda. Okay, bro? You had a George the Animal Steel. You had a Junkyard Dog. You had an Adrian Adonis, adorable Adrian. You had these characters, Glenn, that were so freaking campy that, you know, it was opened up for you to laugh at these. This is a grown man going to the ring with carrying a snake. This is a grown man eating the turnbuckle. So on the surface, you would think they would laugh at these guys. They would laugh at the Macho Man. They would laugh at the Ultimate Warrior shaking the ropes. Bro, once the match took place and Roddy Piper got out of his kilt, all of a sudden, bro, the shit was on.
Yeah, it's a fight.
It was a fight, and you looked at every one of those guys, you know, Steel, Savage, you know, every one of those guys, Jake, and you were like, holy, I wouldn't want to get these guys pissed off because these guys would legitimately kill me. Bro, how outside of Brock Lesnar these days, and maybe, I'd say Lesnar and Cena and maybe a Roman Reigns, what freaking wrestler today would put the fear of God in you?
None of them. Brock's the only one.
Brock.
I'll tell you, and let me. You know what? This is like, I'm gonna go next level stuff here with you, which is what I like to do. And this could be a reason of why professional wrestling is losing its audience. Okay, you know, like in like professional football, professional baseball, the MLB, you have a basic fans. Okay, you have the fans that they'll pay. You know, the go watch the St. Louis Cardinals play. They'll, you know, a family. They just want to go. They want to go to the game. They want to get the Coke and hot dogs, drink a few beers, watch a game, and watch their team win. Okay, then you have your fan base of people that will watch, you know, the baseball shows like you. You'll watch the MLB Network. Okay, then you have the fans of like the fantasy, the people that play fantasy sports. Okay. And maybe you have the casual fantasy sports player that will just, you know, go on DraftKings, put a lineup in, you know, watch it play. But then you have the fantasy experts. And, like, you know, basically they're the ones dissecting everything, all the analytics, all the data, you know, like really making it nerdy. That's so when you have that audience, it's like you take the big picture of, like, you take from the big arena of the fans that will go and watch the show, watch it on TV. Then you kind of tighten your audience up a little bit. There's a smaller audience for the fans that watch it on MLB Network. Okay? Then you have the people that want to take it that want to look at it so technically. It's like, bro, you can't even get that on TV. You have to go on the internet to view it that way. You got to go on the website and the things. Bro, that's what I look as what has happened to professional wrestling. As we've gotten away from the simplicity of over-the-top characters out there fighting each other, made it very simple for the audience, big arenas, big ratings on TV. As we've taken the work and put the emphasis on, like, you know, we're pulling away from characters, we're making them more just people, okay? And we're making the technical aspect of the business the focal point, like how good are the matches? Which, bro, you're not gonna watch a TV show where they're gonna talk about, you know, if AJ Styles and Cena's match was 5 stars. You're going to go on the internet to follow wrestling like that.
Yeah.
A niche audience, okay? So when you put the emphasis on that, you're going to just take your audience and turn it into a niche audience.
Yeah.
We need to add the things back
Glenn,
that made it a broader audience.
Glenn, you want to hear something interesting? I want to throw this at you because I've been thinking a lot about this lately. Okay, Glenn, I'm gonna use baseball as an analogy because I'm a huge baseball mark, and that has not changed one iota over the years. I'm more of a baseball fan today than I was back in the day. Now, Glenn, I want to tell you, bro. I grew up, Glenn. One of my very first memories is the '69 Mets. Then, bro, you know, of course, you know, the Big Red Machine. Then the swinging Oakland A's. Glenn, some of the greatest ball players in the history of the game. Bro, Willie Mays was still playing when I was a kid and watching. Willie Stargell, Bob Gibson, Pete Rose, bro, Reggie Jackson, Nolan Ryan, bro, some of the biggest baseball players, legends. They're all Hall of Famers today, right? But, Glenn, here's the thing. I watched all these Hall of Famers when I was a kid, bro. All of them, right? Willie McCovey, Juan Marichal. Glenn, when I watch baseball today, bro, I can buy Bryce Harper as a great baseball player. I can buy Mike Trout as a great baseball player. I can buy, Kershaw, Clayton Kershaw as a great baseball player, and I saw some of the greats. But when I watch today's players, I buy them as being legitimate, great baseball players, still to this day. Mm-hmm. Bro, why, Glenn, don't I look at professional wrestlers the same way? To me, I look at professional wrestlers today, and the majority of them are a joke. I don't buy them seriously. I don't take them seriously. And like I said, baseball, I take Clayton Kershaw as serious as I took Nolan Ryan. What happened, bro?
It's simple. It's so simplistic. There's a level of entertainment that they're bringing to the table, okay? And this is like what I talked about last week about the echo chamber. The echo chamber, it's a small audience making a lot of noise. And they're talking about how important work is. The matches, this guy's a great worker. Look at this match. Look at them work. It's a 15-minute match and watch. Bro, when I watched entertaining wrestling, and like say, for example, when the New Age Outlaws would come out, I would watch their entire ring entrance, okay, when I'm watching the network, and I fast forward and I watch the finish, okay? Because the wrestling to me doesn't matter. You know why it doesn't matter to me, and it probably doesn't matter to most people, is because we know that they're not fighting for real. It's a fake fight, okay? So you can't try to tell me that knowing that this is a fake fight, that I'm going to engage myself to watch all 14 minutes of it because the performance of the fake fight is going to be so good that I'm going to get engaged in it. I don't care how good it is. It's still fake. Yep. Then the people that think it's fake are not going to start thinking it's real if the guys are good at doing good fake fights. It's like they've completely lost their way to the audience you're trying to get. Nobody wants to watch, like the typical wrestling fan wants wrestling in bits and pieces and simplicity. Yep. Okay? A cool entrance, a short match, a cool finish, a couple of good moves, and that's it. They don't want to watch a 14-minute quote-unquote 5-star masterpiece because, if you're not watching wrestling today, selling that to people that aren't watching wrestling, they're not going to buy it anyway, regardless of what it is.
I always used to say this, and I'll say it to this day, and it's what you just said. If I'm a casual wrestling fan watching wrestling, the minute the match starts, Glenn, I want to know two things. If I'm a casual fan, the match starts, I want to know two things. Who's going over and what's next? That's what I want to know. That's it. That's all I want to know. Who's going over and what's next?
Right, and if you took a room full of 20 casual, smart wrestling fans, probably 6 of them would want to say, no, wait a minute, don't fast forward this, I want to watch the whole match. 14 others probably say, no, who gives a rat's ass? Right. I just want to see the officials get up to the next thing.
And those are the 14 people that aren't watching anymore.
Yeah, and then here's the thing, exactly, because what you're telling your audience, too, is, bro, it's like, this is what we're giving you. We're making you watch the matches, okay? And we're making you watch for 3 hours. Right. Think about that. Okay, it's like, so who possibly is going with that formula that they're presenting right now? It's possibly, if you've quit, you have to know that that's the reason that the people are not watching anymore. They are sick and tired of wrestling. They want to see other stuff. They want to see more characters. They want to see better talkers. They want to see more visual production. They want to see more stuff of like things like the Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy thing. They want to see more vignettes. They want to see more of that stuff because the numbers are telling you what you're giving them is making them turn off. And what they're giving, what are they giving them? You can't argue with me that they're not giving them too much wrestling.
A lot of those people have gone to UFC now. They're UFC fans.
Yeah, 'cause it's a real fight.
And could you imagine coming out at a UFC event and saying, okay, Conor McGregor's not fighting tonight. He's going to be on the pommel horse. And they start doing gymnastics. But that's what wrestling has done. Wrestling is gymnastics now. It's men's gymnastics. Sami Zayn is not a wrestler. Sami Zayn is a gymnast. He could go do a pommel horse. He could do the rings. That's what these guys do, and nobody wants to see that. If they did, men's gymnastics would be a popular sport.
They'd be doing 2 8s, 2 9s, and 3 O's instead of 2 2s and 2 O's. You know, that's, I mean, seriously. I mean, like, you know, bro, the numbers don't lie. I mean, and like, I'd love, bro, you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to figure out a way to get the minute by minutes. I would love to do this research myself. Okay, to prove to see, you know, because I used to love doing that. You remember I just sit there for like an hour and just analyze the numbers.
Jeff, Glenn, listen, bro. Let me tell you, you have no idea, Glenn. When I went back and was consulting for TNA, this was only 3 years ago, whatever that 2 years. I don't even know, Glenn. I'm not kidding you, Glenn.
5 years ago, wasn't it?
Nobody was looking at the ratings. Nobody.
Are you serious?
Zero. Nobody, bro. The writers, Gaborik, Dixie, nobody was studying the ratings. It was all based on their opinion, who they liked and who they didn't like. And I would be sitting there like, are you freaking crazy? You have the numbers. You got the facts that are telling you this works and this doesn't work. Bro, nobody was looking at the freaking ratings when I went back.
Probably not even Conway?
No, nobody, bro. Nobody.
You didn't need Conway to study the numbers and stuff?
I did. I don't know what happened. No one was looking at the numbers, bro. Then I came and I started looking the numbers again, and since the numbers were proving everything they were doing was wrong, guess what? Well, they don't want to look at the numbers anymore.
That's funny. And that's true, bro. That's like, you know, people can argue. This is the most simplistic stuff, and we're talking. The funniest thing is we're speaking Portuguese to some people. You know, they think we're the idiots. Yeah. Russo just killed everything. Bro, and this is like we're looking at this like TV people look at shows.
Yep.
You know, and it's not hard to do. You know, to look at the simple numbers, basic numbers. You know, it's not even getting like into the deep ones. You know, stuff like the metrics and stuff. But bro, it's just, I mean. You know, I mean, we can say this every week. I mean, it's gonna get below a 2.0 because let me tell you something. They're at a 2.0. John Cena's back. Seth Rollins is back. Yep. These were supposed to be the guys that were coming back that were supposed to help the numbers go back up.
Yep.
Okay.
They got the WrestleMania angle with AJ and Cena.
Yeah, it's like, you know, like, bro, you have led the noise of the echo chamber, and probably because all the writers that they had there are probably smart marks that grew up reading the sheets and stuff, everything, all that, and telling them that, like, you know, we got to get the Bullet Club in here, the coolest thing in wrestling, and Vince is probably, you from the stories you've told me, they're probably bringing these guys in. And, you know, Vince is looking at them going, who are these guys? I don't know who these guys are, you know. And the writers are thinking, oh, this is the Bullet Club. They're the coolest guys. And Vince is turned off because he doesn't know them. Vince is still in charge. They're trying to pitch things, but it's becoming across like so simplistic and uncool. You know, they're like, this is what you see. You know, it's like,
bro, these are the same internet marks. Think about this, Glenn. Let's think about this. These are the same internet marks. Bring in AJ, bring in AJ, bring in AJ, bring in AJ. Vince McMahon did not know AJ Styles from Adam. I could tell you that without a shot. Yeah.
Why would he, right?
But Glenn, so Glenn, what happens? AJ walks in the door, and here's Vince, who worked with all those people that I just mentioned, Jake the Snake, Junkyard. I mean, worked with the greats. This AJ Styles walks in the door, and Vince looks at this guy like, this is AJ Styles. So what happens, bro? AJ Styles gets beat the next 3 months.
Yeah, right. Because Vince is like, you know, I can't, you know. Because he doesn't trust anybody.
Exactly.
You know, and if he sees this guy, like, you know, instead of saying, you know, let's just push this guy, he's like, oh, we can't. Who's this guy?
Exactly.
probably her southern voice, southern accent. Exactly. You know, that's you know, you've worked with the guy. I mean, like, that's exactly what happened, right?
Bro.
And people probably don't know, bro. You worked with Vince for how long?
Bro, I was connected to his hip for 3 solid years.
Yeah, and it's like people like. but you're just a hater and don't know what you're talking about, you know.
And bro, I could tell you this. Listen, Jeff, I was gonna say, Glenn, Jeff Jarrett. Let's face it. I mean, Jeff and I have had our ups and downs, but Jeff in his prime was one of the greatest workers and could be a character and cut a promo. You know, the double J with the long hair and the D.O. double, you know, the whole 9 yards. Jeff was entertaining. Bro, the fact that he was Southern, like you couldn't even bring his name up to Vince McMahon. And this is a guy that had all the tools, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you
he's a dictionary too. It's like even if you are stuck with anything, you go to Jeff and he's got an answer for everything because he knows everything's been done. You know,
right. So now you're looking at a guy like Jeff Jarrett that Vince doesn't even want to give the right time as a day to. Bro, then now you have a Sami Zayn walk in the front door like that could not quite. Let's be honest, he could not shine Jeff Jarrett's boots on his best day. Then you got this guy walking in the door. Come on, bro.
And you got the writers selling them to the I mean, it's like, so that's what's going on there. It's like, you know, they're not even giving. Vince is not even gonna. You could give these guys a shot, and just let them do. Let the writers just write for these and you know. Just let them do what they think they can do with these guys, you know. But Vince is just not going to let it happen, which is what he's doing. He's not letting it happen, you know.
He don't buy it. Vince doesn't buy it.
He's giving up on these guys because they're not doing anything to elevate them. They're just having them wrestle. They're putting them in. And let me tell you something. These guys are, you know, you can say what you want. They're not doing themselves any favors. They've got, bro. They had 15 minutes of commentary on that main event match the other night. You know, with the microphone, a live mic. You know, like you said, sometimes you just got to grab the brass ring.
Yeah.
If I'm on that show and I got a live mic, and bro, this is what I tell my some of the guys I train. I say, bro, you know, get yourself over and apologize afterwards.
Yep.
You know, that's the way you need to look at this business. You know, and until you get in trouble. Do what you can to get yourself over and apologize later. You know that's
Glenn,
the formula, guys. You know, that's what Steve Austin did.
Yeah, Glenn, what do you think? I want to throw the perfect scenario by you because I would have been all over this. Why do you think with you know, of course, bro, reality TV, you know, people don't understand. When the Attitude Era started, there was not reality TV like there is now. But, you know, reality TV, Glenn, it would think that the logical step is, okay, let's start talking about the business of the business. And in order to do that, bro, because I did it with a lot of guys. I did it with Flair. You know, you got to have, like, personal and professional disagreements, but be professional enough to go air out the dirty laundry in front of the camera because you know it's going to benefit the company, okay?
Right,
now, Glenn, they had, like, I'm talking about a situation like this. Bro, think about it. Adam Rose was going nowhere. Okay, bro? All of a sudden, bro, they bust Adam Rose for failing the drug test and this, that, and the other thing. All of a sudden, Adam Rose says, wait a minute. You guys knew for freaking years I have ADHD. You guys knew for years I was taking this medication. Here's the doctor's note. Blah, 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 blah. Bro, can you imagine if that story would have been played out in front of the camera? And like that's my thing, bro. Why are they so afraid to introduce the business of the business? Because those are the most intriguing storylines that you can find anywhere. What is the fear, Glenn?
You tell me, because he's already done it before with the Bret Hart turn. The whole next week at TV was that.
Because I was.
So why? Well, that's okay. Maybe, but they did. As they did it before. You guys went behind the curtain. You know, like you guys crossed over. You know, you crossed the kayfabe line. You know, when on TV on the show. Yeah. You know, and it didn't hurt. What happened? Did
Glenn,
that hurt?
Glenn, do you know, bro? How that bro? Whatchamacallit? Vince McMahon is walking around the back with a black eye. Okay, bro? Mm-hmm. I go into the agents meeting that day, you know, Pat, Jerry, all his inner circle, Bruce, Lanza, you name them, they were all there. Bro, everybody wanted to sweep it under the rug like it never happened. Mm-hmm. And I finally, bro, I was trying to be respectful, and I finally just said, Are you guys freaking kidding me? Vince McMahon is walking around with a black eye he received at the end of Bret Hart's right hand. And you're going to ignore that? I said, you are never going to have a bigger, hotter story in the history of this freaking business. Are you guys freaking kidding me? I mean, that hot, bro. Mm-hmm. And I looked at Vince, and I could see Vince immediately like, yeah, yes. And Vince immediately, that turned into Vince didn't screw Bret. Bret screwed Bret. But, bro, they were ready to sweep that under the carpet, and what's happening is, fast forward 20 years later, all the good crap is getting swept under the carpet.
Yeah, it is. You're absolutely right. But let me ask you a question. With that process that took place, how did you convince, because when they had the sit-down, and Ross is interviewing Vince, and Vince is talking about the time-honored tradition and stuff like that. How hard was it to convince? Did you have to say you need to talk about this, or was that Vince's idea?
Vince, bro, I am telling you, when I came up with these things that they'd never done before, bro, I'm being honest with you. Vince was the easiest one to convince.
Really?
I'm telling you, bro, because you know what it was, Glenn? It's what you just said. You got to remember, at that point in time, they were in the red, bro. They were losing money. They were in trouble. And I think Vince's attitude was, what do we have to lose? And it's the same thing. You said it, bro. They're at the same exact spot now. Like, literally, what do we have to lose? But maybe it's different now, bro, because the shareholders and yada, 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 they didn't exist back then. But the fact that he had nothing to lose, he kind of went with this stuff, bro.
Yeah, you got to show courage. Sometimes, like, the fans of wrestling will respect the show more if they show effort. You know what I'm saying? So I think, when you don't show effort, your fans lose respect for your show. And that's what they see each week. Like, they're just, I don't even want to talk about it because we talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
So.
But again, Jeff, there's a couple of other interesting things we've got to hit, and I know we're running a little late, but I want to hit them anyway. So go ahead, Jeff.
Tuesday night, TNA had a live episode, or close to live. I know they film it ahead of time, like a couple hours, but then call it live anyway, which has always seemed odd to me. But all of a sudden, 9 o'clock comes. TNA's not on. TNA's not on. Pop keeps running all of these ads over and over and over. TNA doesn't come on for almost 2 hours after they were. I think it was over 2 hours after they were supposed to come on. It was 11 o'clock on the East Coast when the episode finally aired. And unbelievably, this was not their fault. This TNA had nothing to do with this. This was all Pop TV because the show aired live in Canada on whatever network Canada has it on. Fight Network, I think it is. It aired live there on time. Pop TV owned up, and they took responsibility for this. And because of Vince, we had a phone conversation. Like, have you ever seen a TV network just all of a sudden not go on the air because they can't get a show on the air? It made no sense. So every theory's running through your head. This guy, okay, now Broadhead, or what's his name? The financial guy?
Broadhead.
Yeah, right. He couldn't get the trucks left. All these things are spinning through our head. But I guess it was because of the severe weather where the Pop TV studios are. They had that big storm or hurricane, whatever it was, and that killed the signal, and it really was Pop TV's fault. And it kind of sucks for TNA because, like Glenn said, we've been saying this, Vince, and we said it on our review on the YouTube, Impact blows away Raw as far as programming goes. It's a much better show than Raw, and I feel like they're starting to do some things right. And this is just that they didn't need this right now. You know what I mean? And it's a shame. At least it wasn't their fault. Everybody wanted to say it was.
I was following this on Twitter, because everybody's like, and I tweeted out, I'm waiting for Anonymous to pop up on TV right now with a message that they've hacked TNA. And people were saying, and I even said, I go, ladies, after about an hour of those commercials there, I said, ladies, I go, if a message from an alien race comes on TV right now, that was my idea.
The thing that blows my mind is, okay, the bad weather and this, that, and the other thing. I just don't understand how they were playing commercials for, I mean, did they not have like reruns of Hee Haw or something? The fact that they played like a straight hour of commercial, that's what I don't understand.
Yeah, it was like Pop TV, bumpers, promos for their shows, and they just kept playing the same ones over and over, like 70s show and whatever other shows they show on there, just over and over. But yeah, they could have thrown up last week's Impact or something new, just put something on there.
Did you see this, Jeff? Did you see the story about the Psycho Sid tweets? Did you see that?
Well, yeah, and see, here's the thing: like nobody's ever confirmed that either of these accounts are him.
It's not. Hey, the one account definitely is not him. All right, because it was like, bro, you gotta say, Vince. I don't know if you saw this, but there's this. It was they have a site. There's a Twitter site that says like it's the Psycho Vicious. Okay, Sid Vicious. All right, and he is just like, and it's definitely not. You can tell this is nothing that Sid would be tweeting, because he's talking about creative, like it's something like some smart Mark would be like, like tweeting out, ripping the WWE, ripping their creative and stuff and all that. But the funniest thing is that the WWE Network and at WWE have like retweeted this guy, okay? Like thinking that it was the actual Sid. Bro, the thing has like 214,000 followers, okay? So then like this other site comes up with like 14,000 followers, the real Sid Udi. Okay, he said, "Hey, I don't know what's going on, but basically, that's not me." So he's like tweeting out stuff like, but like you said, we don't know if that's him either. We don't know if Sid Vicious has Twitter. So but the funny thing is like the WWE was like retweeting this account. There was a fake account, and the thing has like 200,000 followers now. So,
yeah,
I thought that was
There was a rumor a while back, and who knows if this is true or not either, but apparently a fan someone was talking to Sid at a convention, and they said he didn't even know what Twitter was. Yeah. So who knows if that's true or not.
I believe that too, bro. I definitely believe that, yeah.
Sid's a country boy that likes to play softball.
So, and he still plays softball because I asked him.
Yeah.
Hey, what's the last thing, Jeff? Because I want to hear some of these comments. I have not heard them.
Well, this is from Al Snow, and it's funny because if I would have read these comments not knowing who said them, if someone put these quotes in front of me, who said this, you could say Vince Russo, you could say Glenn Gilberti. It's the same stuff you guys have been saying since we've been, Glenn's been saying it since 2007 with that article we read a couple weeks ago. But this is Al Snow about wrestling fans, and he says, "They're the goofiest bunch of people I have ever met. I genuinely hate them. I really do. I love the fact that they're fans, but I hate them. Opinions is the lowest form of human knowledge. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You can form an opinion with little or no actual information, and then you can go out and spout it off like it's a real fact. But it's nothing more than theory, conjecture, and assumption. That's all it is." Wrestling Inc. summed up the rest of what Al said, and he said that real knowledge comes from actual experience and information. And he says that these fans are privy to information, but they have no actual experience. And since they have information, they think that they have knowledge and understanding of the business that they've never been in and never had any experience in. And he said this leads to contempt, and that you now have a very vocal minority group of people that don't have an understanding of the business but assume they do and become contemptuous because of it, and they'll still watch it. He said that what makes the situation worse is that people on the inside of the business who live in a wrestling bubble, cater to the contemptuous vocal minority instead of the general audience who don't care much about wrestling except that they want to be entertained.
We should get that video and play it at the open of every one of our shows. Take the heat off of us.
I'll tell you what, I saw Al Snow this weekend too at the convention.
He looks great. He looks great.
Dude, absolutely. But remember when I came to TNA that time, and I was like, and I told I said like it was you had Tommy Dreamer and Al Snow and everybody, like none of the agents were in shape back then. This was like I was like I made a statement. I got heat on myself, but I was like, why are all the agents fat?
Glenn, you know what?
Al went got in good shape after that. Did you know that?
He's in great shape. Glenn, you know what drives me crazy though? Yeah. Glenn, I want you to comment on this because this drives me crazy because I don't agree with this. The people that Al Snow is talking about, okay, with no real experience. Mm-hmm. Bro, you know what drives me crazy? when guys like Austin, who I love and he's my buddy, guys like JR, who I love and he's my buddy, bro, they'll bring these guys on their show as guests.
Mm-hmm.
And that drives me absolutely nuts because what they do, wait, let me finish. What they're doing, bro, is they're giving those guys credibility by bringing them on their show. I don't know why they do that, bro. It drives me nuts.
I've had conversations with people that do this for a living, okay, and they know and they realize that when you do that, you draw their audience.
Yeah, that's true.
Listen, bro, there's an audience for these guys.
It's business.
It's like this.
You're right.
It's just business. It's like, you can sit there and say, bro, those guys will never, you could invite Wade, and Meltzer and these guys on your podcast and everything, and they'll probably never do it. Which I've always thought is shocking, that like you would think that they would like want to have good philosophical discussions on the way the business headed. But bro, all these guys want to do is just talk with people that agree with them about everything.
Yeah.
Nobody wants, and this is the problem. When nobody wants to have actual discussions and disagreements, you're stuck with what you have.
Right.
Wrestling is going downhill, okay? It's at the 2.0 mark. 2.0 is bottoming out. And everybody in the wrestling bubble is regurgitating everything and just agreeing with each other.
Yep.
Wouldn't you think that at some point you need to hear an outlier, like a different opinion on like, maybe my take isn't the right take. Maybe I'm not on the right side. It's like living in Vegas. If you bet on a game and you lose, it's like, wow, I thought I was convinced I was going to win.
Right.
I put money on it and stuff, but I was on the wrong. I looked at it from the wrong angle. If I lose a lot, I would probably say, geez, I need to maybe talk to somebody that knows how to do this
Right.
and winning,
Right.
and like see what they're doing, and like maybe let's listen to their advice instead of taking my own, So it's like, those guys don't like. The thing is, none of those guys, when all these critics and all these guys that do podcasts and everything, none of them have to put their money where their mouth is.
Yep.
None of them.
Yep.
It's not their show. It's not their dime. It's not their checkbook. All it is their expression of their opinions, And when everybody sit there and talk about, you think your opinion's right. It's like, well, guy, you've been talking about this stuff for a while, and the rest it's getting, well, here's a perfect example. I had a friend of mine, the NXT Brooklyn show last year, right? Everybody and their mother, when NXT Takeover went to Brooklyn, what was the go back and look at Twitter, social media, wrestling sites, and everything. Look at what the responses were after that weekend at SummerSlam. Do you remember what the responses were?
No, go ahead.
Oh, just very positive. Wrestling's going in the right direction. Wrestling's wrestling's got a great future now. We're looking great. We're saying, and I'm like, no, you're not, because that audience really doesn't speak for nothing. That's like a bunch of, that's a wrestling convention. They went to go watch what they wanted to see, and everybody coming out of the convention, clapping and cheering and going on Twitter and talking about it. Bro, it's the celebration of the niche audience.
Yeah.
Good
way of putting it, bro.
And here we are again. Let's fast forward to this year's SummerSlam. We're getting worse, but now we're between NXT Dublin, NXT Brooklyn sold out. NXT, it's like, bro, at what point are we going to take wrestling more and start treating, going for the mass audiences, and quit stroking the chain of all the small audience that watches this stuff. It's like, let's start getting bigger picture. Let's start doing the things that that basically casual fans were interested in. Casual fans don't care about NXT, and they don't, bro. They're the rookies. It's like the NXT are the green guys. So it's like I don't know. And if you're a new listener, hopefully we're enlightening you on what our philosophy is and what they're doing wrong, and hopefully hopefully maybe you're gaining new fans and new people to the ideology. But well, you see the responses on social media, people sitting there say, bro, that's a great take you have on this. That's a good, bro, because we're outside the box. Because you go on all these other shows, all these other podcasts, and it's, bro, you're right. It's disappointing to listen to them. Because I'm listening to them and I'm going God, man, start talking about this. You guys have been talking about this stuff for years. Start talking about the real problem. Start addressing the real problem. The booking of Roman Reigns is not the real problem. Because the booking of Roman Reigns is the same thing they've been doing with John Cena. He's got a good-looking, well-built baby face that he can put on TV and put on TV shows and sell his brand to the masses that don't watch the show. That ain't going to change.
Right.
You know, so quit worrying that, like, you know, that somebody else should be in that spot, because Vince McMahon is always going to push what? The best-looking guy.
Yep.
Pretty much, right?
Yep.
That's going to be
the most believable guy.
The most believable, best-looking guy.
Yep.
Because why? It's his checkbook, and he's trying to sell his company to people that haven't bought it yet.
Yep.
All right? But these people are talking about, well, the bookings. Screw that. The problem is the fans. You know, you're crapping on a successful business model that the guy is trying to push. Yeah. You know, you would rather have Vince McMahon push somebody that he can't sell to new fans. You know, it's like you're telling the guy, hey, we would rather watch good matches than have you make money, than watch your business grow. We would rather be happy getting our little collection of fans, going to Brooklyn for a weekend, watching SummerSlam, watching NXT, cheering "This is awesome," doing, you know, cheering for our guys and everything, and going back to where and go back on Twitter, than having more people watch the show. Right. You know, and expanding the audience. It's like the fans have, like, you know what they've done? It's not they've hijacked. They've kidnapped professional wrestling. They've kidnapped professional wrestling right now, and they're holding it, and, you know, under the handcuffs, under a, you know, they're guarding it with guns. They're not letting it go anywhere. Yeah. You know, and then that's what's happened. It's like I said, I'm not even going to use the word hijacked anymore. Wrestling fans have kidnapped wrestling. All
right, Glenn, what's your Twitter? Put your Twitter out there, or anything else you want to tell the people about.
At The Real Disco. Oh, I want to. You know what you didn't let me do this week?
Go ahead.
You didn't let me bury Conan again.
Yeah, bury him.
I want to. No, I'm not going to. No, yeah, we got to promote this. I want to bury Conan in an epic burial, because he deserves it, and you deserve it too.
What do you
because
mean?
Let me. Here's the hit. You know.
Why do you lump me in with Conan?
No, it's all you. I'm lumping you in. Here's how I'm lumping you in with. Okay. You at the Vince Russo.
Yeah.
At the Ed Ferrara. At SharkBoyNet. At I'm Ed Heavy. At Conan5150. At Court Bauer. And at MLW. All you guys are all in the same boat of the people that are out there to discredit my good name. And all of you are on my list of people that in the future will be humbled and buried by me.
What about all those on Twitter? Because I get this a lot every week from you know, there's other people beyond that. What about all those on Twitter that like to compare your voice to that of Kermit the Frog? What do you have to say to those people?
I could care less about those people. But first of all, those people can go, screw them. They're probably, you know who those people are? They're probably your and Conan's Twitter followers.
Come on, bro.
Yeah, they probably are.
I spend half my week defending you to Conan, bro. Stop.
You're such a liar. Conan, am I still banned from MLW?
I think so, last I read.
Yeah, that's good. That's great.
I love the kidnap turn. You've caused a new frame. Now, tomorrow, everybody's going to start using that and taking credit for it.
No. Yeah. You know the funniest thing is that Jeff, do you remember that article I wrote back in 2007?
Yeah.
Oh, here we
Did
go.
you notice the first paragraph where I coined the term the Internet Wrestling Fan, IWF?
Yeah.
Bro, that branch, I'm the one that came up with the IWF. That first article I wrote there, that turned into the IWC.
All right.
So I'm the one that basically, it's true. It's 100% true. I'm the one that started talking about it. I'm the one that started addressing
This is why nobody likes you. This is why nobody likes you right here. Because you put yourself over to nausea. That's why nobody likes you. You understand?
Well, that's why you bring me on. I'm going to get myself.
I'm going to tell you something, too.
Bro,
Let me tell you something.
When I come on your show, I'm going to.
You put your own mother on this show last week, I got the vibe that even your own mother didn't like you, bro. That was the vibe I got.
You were completely disrespectful to my mother. I'm never going to forgive you that. I'm going to bury you at some point.
But
I just want you to know that when I come on this...
Hold on a minute. You know when somebody is holding somebody hostage, and they got to call the person, they got to call like their loved ones, and the person holding them hostage makes them shut their mouth and they can't really say they're in trouble and they need help. That was the vibe I got from Glenn's mother last week, bro.
You're so full of baloney.
That was the vibe I got, bro. Like, she wanted to tell me, help me, bro. Please help me. I can't deal with this kid no more.
you heard was a mother that was very upset that her son was being disrespected
All right.
to thousands, tens of thousands of people every week, and millions of people on Twitter. Okay, let me tell you something. I'm just going to point out, if I'm going to get myself over, when I come on your show,
All right.
I'm going to grab the brass ring.
All right.
Okay.
Can you leave now?
Yes.
All right, we'll see you next week. Glenn Gilbernetti, everybody.
Gilberti.